Welcome to the Trustees meeting for Thursday, February 6th, 2020. Public participation, seeing none. Correspondence.
No correspondence.
Minutes.
Hold on.
We're moving right along, Dave.
Okay. I got it. Ready. 4 minutes.
I wasn't here, so it looks great to me. It's exactly like I remember.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the minutes for Thursday, January 2nd.
Second?
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. Okay. As of February 4th, our MMDT balance is $1,584.77. The building fund is $540,524.65. And at that time, there was no Barth report, but obviously, it has just come in, and I just forwarded it to you too, so we can publish that
Okay,
as soon as we can get to a printer.
okay.
And that's the treasurer's report.
Friends report?
The Friends had a very successful bake sale and book sale on Saturday, so I think they both raised in the neighborhood of $500 each, give or take a little bit. They are hard at work on mini golf, which is March 27th and 28th. They're getting donors and restaurants to donate raffle prizes, so they are working on all of that. There's a candy contest going on, so guess how many candies are in the jar. That goes through the end of February. And then they are also selling tickets for the Taste of Neshoba, so they would receive $5 for each ticket sold if people buy them through the library. Those were the major things that they discussed at the meeting. They also did talk a little bit about the museum passes, but I guess that updated, or you mentioning something about that?
Yeah, it went back to the way it was before.
Okay,
Yeah.
problem solved. And I think that's it.
The Holiday Bazaar, they had the Holiday Bazaar that got $1,216 from what Judy White and the Gallants did for us. And their book sale did $220 at the bazaar. And they also transferred $23,019.70 into the building fund.
Can you just repeat that number, please?
$23,019.70.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, fundraising and public awareness?
They're working on an annual ask letter for more donations. As Mira said, mini golf is March 27th and 28th. They just made plans for that.
I think you can buy the tickets online and at the desk now.
Yeah. We discussed having alcohol at the event, but we decided against it. There's going to be a Saturday food truck with, and they're accepting donations for the raffle right now. So that's about it.
Okay. Building project updates.
Where do we start?
So, where do we start? So we had a meeting, well, with the OPM and the CM at risk last week.
Last week.
Yes.
To talk about some, the projected number from the CM at risk is a little high right now. So there's a list of potential changes that we're going through to try and balance the budgets. Basically, it's going through multiple iterations, and there's still iterations going on. What else is going on in the,
And we're actually waiting for the response back. because basically it's up to them. We need to set another meeting.
So the way that it works is, the architect the architect hired someone to do a cost estimate. They had hired a professional cost estimator to do an estimate. The architectural drawings are now 70% complete. Those have been turned over to the CM at Risk, who have professional estimators on staff who went through and did an estimate based on those drawings. And the numbers that the CM is coming up with, they're higher than the other, so now we're going through and reconciling why and how to bring the numbers back down. The architect is working on getting the documents 100% ready, at which time there'll be another estimate, and we can see, how close we are, and there's things, there's a lot of things that we're going through and saying, can we do without this? Can we change the, A to B type things, right? That type of stuff we're going through. I asked Sam yesterday to start, one of the items on the, in the budget is for interior furnishings, and an interior designer. So I asked Sam to start working with the interior designer to figure out what furniture we have that we can move, what furniture we need, and how much it's going to cost, so we can get a firmer number on that part of the budget. It's a large chunk of change, and it would be nice to know how accurate that number is, and if there's any cost savings in that number or not. I think that's going to take a while to do, but hopefully we'll have a number around this time next month, or start for a number. The architect is supposed to be completing the construction documents around the end of the month, I think. So we'll be getting another number. Because the documents aren't complete and because of the potential changes, the estimate for start of construction is pushed back to probably the beginning of May, somewhere in May instead of March. We're negotiating with where the workers can park. The school has said that they can park there when school's not in session, but that only covers a very small portion of the construction. So they're trying to figure out where they can park. One potential is the Congregational Church. We're negotiating with them, and so on and so forth. And what am I missing?
I think that's pretty much it. I think that's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, the parking right now is one of the bigger issues.
There's well, I don't know if it's still happening now or not. There was a talk of the CM going to the Council on Aging meeting next.
Yeah, they're going to the
Monday.
March 9th meeting now.
It's now the March 9th meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. So they'll be going to an upcoming meeting. One of the plan right now during construction is to take, not disturb the tennis courts, not disturb the ball field, but they're going to take a section of the back row of parking, basically, the back row and a half. Because if you just take the back, you have to kind of take the other. So they're going to be taking a section of that. There will be a couple weeks when construction is happening that the entrance by the tennis courts, and probably the tennis courts, won't be available from that direction, as they have to dig up the road to bring in utilities and things like that. So, but the CM is going to coordinate all of those schedules with Park and Rec and the school department and Council on Aging. We don't know what those timeframes are yet because we're still too far from construction. Oh, the other thing that's happening is they're starting to vet the trade people, the subcontractors, basically. The CM at Risk works a little differently in that apparently, so what they're going to do is put out, not out to bid, but they're going to put out the project on whatever the central registry type thing is for what trades they need, and then people can submit their qualifications, and then there's a team that will review those qualifications and pick which companies can go forward to later bid on the process, bid on the subcontracts or whatever. And I don't know if we pick those, or the CM picks those, or I don't know how any of that works, but that process is starting this week, I think. And Steve Moore and
Mike Scaduto.
Mike Scaduto from PMBC are going to be representing the library on that process. So we're moving along slowly. So, any questions? Nothing's really changing. Nothing, when we're going through the review for changing, for cutting costs in the building, nothing's really, it's things like changing, well, what happens if we go from, you know, this lighting system to that lighting system, or this door to that door. It's not changing anything structurally or major in the building, really. It's more of the peripheral things for the most part so far. So, okay. Trustees updates. Want to start?
Sure. So I went to the bake sale. I love the Fill the Cookie Box bake sale. That's one of my favorite events at the library. So I enjoyed that. My kids enjoyed that. Saw a lot of people there. So that was fun. Yeah. So I had a good time at that.
I have no updates.
Oh, well, we had a pop-up book sale and CD sale
Yes.
the other day, and I missed the morning part, so I think I missed a lot of good stuff.
So, yes, Marnie Oakes, one of our former directors, donated, she's going to be leaving the area to move back closer to her kids, and she donated her and her husband's book collection. So that was what the pop-up book sale is. And I don't know the name of the gentleman that donated the CDs, but he apparently used to have a music streaming business and donated about 1,000 CDs to the library book sale, so.
I mean, when I was there, I was there in the afternoon, I still got some really good stuff, so I don't even know what was there in the morning, but it had to be good. Sorry I missed that, but anyway, that's me.
I don't really have any updates outside of the pop-up book sale. I wanted to thank the people that donated to that and the cookie sale. So, director's report.
All right. On January 14th, I presented the fiscal '21 budget to the joint meeting of the Selectmen and FinCom. I already presented that to you guys at an earlier meeting, but I requested additional funds for new programming and programming supply lines. That was the biggest thing. Increased funding for materials, processing supplies, and also I asked for more hours for the staff so that we can increase hours for the library. I was asked not to increase hours for the majority of the staff. They did say that they would, they were okay with increasing the hours for the assistant director from 30 to 35 next year, but they felt like since we're getting a new library, they wanted us to maybe see how things go. So that was pretty much the only thing that was turned down, but everything else looks like it's going to get approved, as long as it gets approved at town meeting next May. I met with the new assistant town administrator, Joe Layden, on January 27th. I gave him a tour of the library and had a little talk with him in my office, and we introduced ourselves to each other, and it was nice. And I also met with Alicia Day and Liz from COA to discuss how the library project and construction will impact them. We talked about meeting in the future so that we can make sure everything's coordinated and that no one has their lives too interrupted by our project. Let's see, the rest is mostly just the stats. As far as expenses go and payroll, we're on where we should be, at about 56%, 57% for payroll. In town materials, we're usually at this time of year. We'll be probably going to the trustees' materials budget in a couple months, in a month.
What's Grant Watch?
Grant Watch, it's a website that you can go to look for grants. You have to pay a subscription for it.
So do you want to mention on the budget for next year, the changes in the trust fund?
So I did request $12,000 instead of the usual $15,000. I'm not sure if that's, as far as I know, it's still there. When I looked on Munis yesterday, it was still on there as part of the request.
Okay. So there's talk about potentially changing how trust funds are used on a revolving basis for the budget, and I think Sam and I will probably meet with the finance director here and then
Yeah.
shortly to discuss that. Okay, anything else on the director's report? Andy's really cleaning up on the notaries.
Yeah, she has a funny way of keeping track. I don't think it's fair.
Do we know why attendance was up so much?
It's winter reading, so maybe that has something to do with it. A lot of programs.
Okay. Any old business? New business?
I just want to ask, do we get any,
Applicants?
end of the month, Ray Grandy Scholarship applications?
No.
No applications,
No.
okay.
Don't expect it until like the day before.
Okay.
Yeah. That's been my experience.
And I'm assuming that we're going to be interviewing them in the March meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
When is?
This next meeting is March 6th?
Yes.
The 5th?
I think it's March 6th.
The 6th
Probably
is
the
a
fifth.
Friday?
It's probably the 5th, it's leap year.
Oh, that's March.
You're right, it's March 5th.
March 5th. I can make that one.
Okay, there's nothing else.
I would like
Thanks.
to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. See everyone on March